So you want to reach A rank in Pokemon Legends ZA ranked battles, then you're gonna have to learn the current metagame. Here's a breakdown of every meta pick in competitive Legends ZA and how to either play them or counter them. Remember to leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel if you don't want to miss any more Legends ZA uploads. Without further ado, let's get into the meta picks. Alright, the first Pokemon I want to talk about is probably the most picked and one of the most popular Pokemon to use in ranked battles right now, which is going to be Mega Garchomp. Now, sometimes you will see people run regular Garchomp with Yacha Berry to reduce ice damage, but generally it's Mega Garchomp that you see all the time. Its base attack is just so high at 170, so everyone just likes to go max HP, max attack, and just look for one-shots, and with that HP investment, you kind of tank some hits, hopefully, as you're trying to one-shot people with Dragon Rush or Earthquake, which segues perfectly into its moveset. It gets Dragon Rush, which is an insanely popular move right now just because of its ability to go invulnerable for a few seconds and then automatically home in on the target. Think of moves like Fly, Bounce, Dig. They all have this property of just immediately lunging onto the target. And then Dragon Rush is just such a high BP on top of that as well. So it is an insanely strong move in this game, which is why Mega Garchomp is pretty popular, because it has an insanely high physical attack stat. And an Earthquake, obviously, insanely large AoE move. Stab as well, very strong. Dragon Claw is a very good move in situations where you have to finish off a 1 HP opponent. It comes out very fast activation, and on top of that, decent BP at 70 with a pretty low cooldown. So you'll generally see Garchomp's Dragon Rush in, Earthquake, and there's something that's 1 HP, they'll quickly Dragon Claw it, and then, yeah, that's generally what the game plan is. And obviously Swords Dance is great because anytime you're out of combat, you can just lock into a target and then just set up your Swords Dance for free attack, and then once you do that, you kind of just jump into Dragon Rush and go crazy. So some people will ask, why don't you invest in any kind of speed into Garchomp? Well, the thing with Garchomp's game plan is it has so much base attack and just has such a good moveset that allows it to really get on opponents without really having to walk at them. So speed isn't all that important because you don't really need the mobility to get onto opponents, and you don't really need the cooldown reduction when you're usually just one-shotting things anyway. So it feels much better to invest into HP to just be able to tank hits from other Garchomps. And yeah, so that's generally the Garchomp game plan. HP max, attack max. You can do some finicky stuff with Spadef, but generally if you're seeing like something that can ice beam you on your field, you should probably just swap out anyway. So yeah, that's arguably the most popular pick in ranked battles right now. Moving on to probably the second most popular pick right now, this is going to be Gyarados. So a lot of people like to ask, what's better, Gyarados or Mega Gyarados? Because there's sort of a reason to go both. Mega Gyarados obviously does have better base stats, but it does lose the Flying Stab for Bounce. And Bounce, similar to Dragon Rush, is a very popular move just because it's able to home in on the target and give you invulnerable frames. So I see a lot of regular Gyarados because not only do you keep your Flying Stab, that also means you keep your immunity to ground, right? So you can immune really meta moves like Earthquake and Dig. So yeah, generally you'll see regular Gyarados with Wakon Berry to have electric type attacks, and obviously a lot of people are running T-Bolt as coverage moves because Gyarados and Greninja are pretty popular right now. Waterfall is also a very great move just because it's a move that kind of also homes in on the target, but not as like, it doesn't have as much of an insane range as like Bounce, but it still is a pretty decent dash that'll get you to your target if they're a little far away from you, and it's pretty good BP and a relatively low cooldown. So that's another good thing about this move. And then Crunch would be Stab and Mega. Otherwise, it's a pretty fast activating, strong move. You can hit Mega Frost Slashes for super. And then Ice Fang, obviously Garchomp, Dragonite, Salamence, all very meta right now. So Ice Fang is just, if your Pokemon gets any kind of ice coverage, Ice Punch, Ice Fang, you generally should bring it just because of the sheer amount of the meta Pokemon that are 4 times weak to ice right now. So Gyarados getting Ice Fang is huge. You can actually maybe run AV, now that I think about it, over Wakon Berry if you want to deal with like T-Bolts better. But there are also a lot of people that are T-punching you as well. So I feel like Wakon Berry could be better overall. But yeah, in general, HP and attack investments are good. You don't really need speed as much. Similar concept to Gyarados or to Garchomp. You already have such a great way of getting onto people with Bounce, and your CDR and your cooldowns aren't really that long anyway. Alright, moving into another meta staple. This is going to be Mega Metagross. I'm going to be actually looking at Mega Metagross and regular Metagross pretty differently here because I think they have pretty different playstyles. So starting with Mega Metagross, you're just going to be running a very offensive moveset with Heavy Slam, Ice Punch, T-Punch, and Earthquake. The fact that Metagross does get access to both Ice Punch and T-Punch is very valuable because you have Ice Punch to hit Garchomps and Dragonites, you have T-Punch to hit Gyarados and Greninjas. So having both is generally pretty optimal just because of how popular those picks are. Heavy Slam is obviously very strong. It acts similarly to Bounce in Dragon Rush, where you just jump onto your target with a Steel move. So for that reason, you also just go a very bulky investment on Metagross as well. You see max HP. I've actually invested a little bit into defense. Apparently 56 is enough to actually get you to live Earthquakes from Garchomps. So this investment is pretty nice into 56 defense. And then you could just put like 200 into attack. I'm still running an Adamant Nature. No need for defense nature. Earthquake to hit like Excadrills. I see Metagross has run Earthquake decently. You could also just run like Zen Headbutt, but I don't see that as much. Yeah, just Metagross is great. It's just great stats, right? And gets Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam is very nice just because Gardevoirs are pretty common right now as well, because Gardevoirs do counter like Garchomp and Dragonite a bit. So you can bring a Metagross with your Garchomp or your Dragonite to just Heavy Slam those Gardevoirs, and it'll pretty much one-shot every time. There's no amount of investment those Gardevoirs can make to really live that interaction. So yeah, very valuable in that department, but that's Mega Metagross. Regular Metagross, I think you could play a bit differently. I go Shuka Berry for ground attack. I think generally just any Metamons right now that don't go Mega, like any of the type berries are very valuable just because like people will always bring some kind of coverage for these Metamons. So Shuka Berry on Metagross is pretty good. Otherwise, you could go like, I don't know actually. I think Shuka Berry is just the best. Yeah, I would just go Shuka Berry. Reflect Light Screen is what I like on regular Metagross, since you're not really running Mega, so you can think of it more as like a supportive like utility set. So Reflect on Light Screen on Metagross is really valuable because obviously those moves are really good in ranked right now, because all you need to do is just take like a second or two to set up both moves from range. All you need to do is lock on a target and just use these moves, and then you can just jump right in with screens up, right? So very valuable moves. So the fact that Metagross gets access to them is very nice. And then you can just keep your Ice Punch and T-Punch to, you know, destroy those Metamons I was talking about earlier. So yeah, this kind of set is like pretty good. You don't even need Heavy Slam on this. Just having these two moves to like deal with the Metamons and then just screens to support your main carry is pretty nice for Metagross. Shuka Berry keeps you alive. Same investment as last time, I think, except for yeah, I'm gonna allocate a lot less into defense and just go regular 252 and HP and attack, because Reflect does let you live Earthquake from Garchomp anyway, so you don't really need that extra investment into defense. So I feel like HP attack max 252 makes a little more sense. But okay, let's move on into Dragonite, who we've mentioned a few times already. So Mega Dragonite is a very strong special attacker now. It gets, I believe, yeah, 145 base special attack in Mega with relatively good bulk and pretty good speed. So the investment that I like to go for is max HP and max special attack. The reason why I don't really go speed is because Draco Meteor is the most popular move for Mega Dragonite right now, just because of the sheer power, 130 base power, and also the AoE. Draco Meteor, especially if you're on that circle map, the really small circle map, it pretty much just covers the whole map. So you just drop like a nuclear bomb on everyone, and it just does so much damage. So Draco Meteor is pretty much a must-have, I feel like, on Mega Dragonite. And because it drops just attack for a decent amount of time, generally you're going to swap out Mega Dragonite as soon as you use Meteor, right? Because you want to get rid of that attack decrease. So generally you're going to think of Mega Dragonite as more of like a quick swappy DPS that comes in, uses like Hurricane or Draco Meteor once, and it just swaps out immediately. So for that reason, I feel like speed isn't really all that important, since you're not really waiting for cooldowns to come back up. So you can just go a full bulk build with like 252 HP and 252 special attack to amplify your Draco Meteor damage. I think that makes the most sense. You also get Ice Beam to hit Garchomps and Salamences, pretty optimal. And Focus Blast to let you hit Steel types is really good, since everything in your moveset right now is resisted by Steel. And Focus Blast, I believe it just got in this game, Legends EA, so it's really nice that it got that. Yeah, I think Dragonite's just great. It's just great stats. This kind of stats is just very good for ranked battles in general. Just bulky, and you hit hard, and you have a decent speed tier. This is like the perfect kind of stats that you want for these kind of ranked battles, just bulky enough to live and just strong enough to one-shot people. But you may be asking me, Hush and Josh, Mega Dragonite being a special attacker is great, but what if I don't want to use Dragonite that way? What if I want to use it as a physical attacker? Because obviously when Dragonite is outside of Mega, it's more of a physical attacker, right? It doesn't have this 145 special attack. It only gets that in Mega. So what if I want to play physical Dragonite? And to that, I answer you, just play Mega Salamence, right? Like, why play like physical Dragonite with no Mega, or even with Mega, and like go Dragon Rush build on one Dragonite when Salamence is right there? You know what I'm saying? Like the same typing, way better stat spread for physical. It has 145 phys attack with 120 speed, gets Dragon Rush, gets Fly on top of that. So there's really no reason to even consider Dragonite as a physical attacker, in my opinion. You're like, yes, it can, but it's just completely outshadowed by Mega Salamence, who has the same typings, arguably a better move pool for physical with Fly, adding a T-Fang to hit Gyarados, EQ just for fun as well, like to hit like Metagross and Excadrill. I think Mega Salamence is pretty good and very underrated. The only thing that's really lacking is just the ability to like set up some kind of attack buff like Swords Dance or something, but outside of that, it's just so strong. You can even run 252 HP and 252 attack on Salamence as well, just because of like the same ideology with the other mons, where Dragon Rush and Fly just kind of lock on the target already, so you don't really need the extra mobility to gap close. And on top of that, like you already have so much damage, you're likely one-shotting things anyway, so having like lower cooldowns doesn't really matter as much on a Pokemon like Salamence, in my opinion. So yeah, like max HP, max attack I think is the most popular set on Mega Salamence. Dragon Rush, Fly, 2 moves that let you go invulnerable and just automatically home in on your target. Really strong moves, especially given their BP. 100 BP on Dragon Rush, 90 BP on Fly. And then, yeah, pretty good coverage moves. So, yeah, Mega Salamence, if you want to run some kind of physical Dragonite, just go Salamence. It's right there. There's no reason to, like, go some weird, awkward physical / special moveset with Dragonite Mega. Just go Salamence. It makes so much more sense. So, yeah, those were, like, the most meta Pokemon that are currently in Legends ZA. Like, they have, like, the best moves. They just very good stat spreads and just overall dominate matches. So, here are some picks now that have kind of risen up in popularity just to deal with those meta Pokemon. I guess you could call them anti-meta picks. Starting with Skarmory, especially Mega Skarmory. You pretty much should never run regular Skarmory because it's so bad compared to Mega. Because Mega Skarmory now gets 110 speed, very good. Very balanced defenses as well, 110 defense and 100 speed F, and then a whopping 140 physical attack. Skarmory is a pretty fast and bulky attacker. It's a very impressive stat spread. And a lot of that is because it min-maxed a lot by only having 40 special attack, right? So that's why stat spread is so great. So Skarmory is really interesting because it gets access to both Swords Dance and Agility in this game, and in my opinion, anything that gets access to these moves in one moveset, you should heavily consider running it, because Agility just gives you a lot of value in not only just actual mobility but CDR, right? Cooldown reduction for your moves. If you have, I believe how the math checks out is if at level 50 you have a base movement speed of 192 minimum, that gives you the maximum cooldown reduction you need for 8-second cooldown moves. So Iron Head is an 8-second cooldown move, so theoretically if you had 192 base speed, then you would have your maximum cooldown reduction for Iron Head. And in Brave Bird you would require a little more, because I believe that's like 10 seconds cooldown. So with Agility, which is doubling your speed, right, in this game, your base speed at level 50 is 130 with no investments, no Jolly Nature, no speed EVs, nothing. So if you just Agility once, that's already enough for your Iron Head maximum CDR, and I believe it should be enough for Brave Bird. I haven't exactly mapped that out yet, but in my head, I feel like it should. So just using Agility just gives you maximum CDR on these moves, and not to mention the mobility, right? The fact that you can zoom at people. In a game like this, I think people are heavily underrating just mobility, the ability to get around the map and like get close to people and like surprise them with attacks, or like using that mobility to like dodge attacks. I think is very underrated right now. People are saying that, oh, if you don't need the CDR, then don't go speed. But some Pokemon really value just the ability to move around, right? If you can move around quickly, you can get yourself in a good position for like really good Brave Birds, or if you're playing Excadrill, you can get in a position for really good drill runs. So yeah, I think Agility just overall is a move that you should always look at if your Pokemon gets access to it, and you should consider it heavily on your moveset. So what I run on Skarmory is Swords Dance, Agility, Brave Bird, and Iron Head. I know a lot of people like Drill Run on Skarmory to be able to hit Metagross and Excadrills, but me personally, in those scenarios, I just swap it out. I think just playing into its strengths with its stabs and going Swords Dance Agility just makes it such a threat. With Iron Head, it just one-shots Gardevoirs reliably after a Swords Dance. You can go max HP, max attack, since Agility gives you the mobility and the CDR that you want already. So you're actually able to go a bulky investment because you're running Agility, which I think is very valuable. And you can go to Adamant Nature as well for extra damage. I think Skarmory is disgusting, but the biggest selling point of Skarmory right now is not even just its moveset or the way that you can invest more into tankiness because it gets Agility. The fact that Skarmory is a Steel Flying type means that you not only resist Dragon moves from like Dragonite, Garchomp, Salamence, but you're a Flying type, which means you're also immune Earthquake, which is one of the strongest moves in the game right now. So you immune Garchomp stabs entirely, and you also yeah, well, it's mainly that. You immune ground moves, you resist dragon moves, and those are pretty much the meta right now. You are weak to Thunder Punch and like Thunder Fangs, unfortunately. So like if you're running Skarmory with like a water Pokemon, you are adding an extra electric weakness. But it's pretty easy to look over that given just how good his typing is for like the base metamons of like Garchomp and Dragonite right now. Alright, moving on to Gardevoir. So in a meta that's pretty dominated by dragon types right now, obviously Gardevoir being one of the best fairy megas in the game is going to have some play, right? So Moonblast is a great move in this game. I believe the cooldown is it an 8-second cooldown? It might be a 10-second cooldown, but regardless of what it is, it's like at most a 10-second cooldown move, and it just automatically homes in on the target. If you use Moonblast, it'll follow the target and pretty much just connect, unless if they like outrun it like that long. Like if they outrun it for like a solid like 5 seconds, then I think it dissipates, but otherwise it'll pretty much always connect because it homes in on the target. So really good move. If you just click it on a Garchomp, a lot of the time they're forced to swap out just because it will one-shot them, unless if they have some SPDF allocation. T-Bolt kind of works similarly in the sense that it auto-aims on the target. It's pretty much undodgeable once it's locked in. So really strong in that department. So if you just see a Gyarados, literally just from across the map, you can just lock in T-Bolt and they're just dead. Mystical Fire is just mainly to hit Metagrosses and Excadrills who are pretty decently popular right now. So I think that's good to have. Otherwise, you'd run like Psychic instead for a second stab. But I don't really think it's that important right now. Fighting types, poison types aren't really something you see all that much right now, so Mystical Fire I think will be the more common option. And then Calm Mind, well, just any Pokemon, any setup move your Pokemon gets, you should use, because in ranked battles you start from far away from your opponents. You might as well try and use some kind of setup move from afar, right? So just throw Calm Mind in there. Why not? It just gives you a damage boost for free. My investments for Gardevoir, I would like to go speed. Gardevoir is pretty different from like the other picks we've mentioned so far that are like able to just go HP. Gardevoir kind of needs the cooldown reduction, and not to mention its base speed isn't really all that high, and you don't get agility to like kind of fix it. So if you want a bit more like actual mobility, which is pretty important for like a ranged character that needs to like kite away from people, and also cooldown reduction for your moves, I think going max speed is going to be pretty important for Gardevoir. I find it hard to try and actually put any kind of HP or defense investment on Gardevoir. I think you just have to go max special attack, max speed with a timid nature. But let's move on to Glaceon. So Glaceon is a bit of an interesting pick that's risen up in popularity. The only reason why Glaceon is relatively popular right now is just because of the meta. Garchomp, Dragonite, Salamence, all quad weak to ice. Gyarados, if you hit it with a freeze dry, that's a quad weakness, right? Because it's a water flying type. And also Greninja's regular times weak to freeze dry as well. So there's a high demand for Ice Beam / freeze dry Pokemon right now, and Glaceon just happens to fit the bill. So yeah, you're going to be running both Ice Beam and freeze dry. It's literally just built to be an anti-meta Pokemon. The third slot, you can go like Protect, but I've kind of thrown Shadow Ball in here. If you see Gardevoirs, you can threaten them with Shadow Ball. I think that's not bad. And you also got Calm Mind as a setup move, which is very valuable as well. So any engagement, you'll start from far away, set up your Calm Mind, +1 special attack, and then you can immediately threaten a one-shot on Garchomps with like Ice Beam or Gyarados Freeze Dry. So yeah, that's why Glaceon is very popular right now. Life Orb I know is in the game, and you'll probably run that just for the extra damage for your Ice Beam or Freeze Dries. Garchomp players and Dragonite players right now are trying to do like investments to like let them live Ice Beams from like Glaceon, or let their Gyarados live freeze dries from Glaceon. So I think like if you just throw Life Orb on this thing, or maybe even like an Expert Belt, if that's even in the game, it might throw off the calculations a bit. Maybe they didn't calculate for that extra damage boost from these items, and maybe their investments are meaningless and you one-shot them. And also for your investments, I think speed will be the most important one on Glaceon as well, because Freeze Dry on paper is a really good move in this game because it lets you super one-shot Gyarados and like Greninjas. But the problem with this move is how it actually like hits. Its hitbox is incredibly short range. It's just a little circle around it, and it doesn't go very far, and it kind of only activates once Glaceon gets in melee range of the target. So it's a little difficult to actually connect this move onto targets if they're not like proactively trying to dodge it or like switch out from it. So I think having the speed, as much speed as possible, to let your Glaceon actually move faster towards targets and get the freeze dry off is going to be pretty important. And not to mention the cooldown reduction is nice to just let your freeze dry come up off cooldown as fast as possible. The first one missed against like the enemy Gyarados. So yeah, I think just max speed of Timid is going to be good on Glaceon as well. Its base speed is really low, so it doesn't need as much help as it can in that speed department. Otherwise, your Glaceon is going to be wobbling towards Gyarados, go for freeze dry, but it's so slow, so it can't ever connect it, and then you're never going to actually be able to hit this move, right? So I think speed allocation is the wave of Glaceon. But if you want to go balls deep and like think that you're that guy that can hit all your freeze dries, then maybe do an HP investment. I don't know. But I think speed is going to be more comfortable, in my opinion. Let's move on to Ampharos, but not Mega Ampharos, just regular Ampharos, because regular Ampharos is a lot more popular than Mega Ampharos right now. The reason being is regular Ampharos allows you to lets you run Shuca Berry to resist, or not resist, but half the damage taken from super effective ground type moves. Very valuable since there's a lot of Garchomps and even Metagross is that one Earthquake right now. Ampharos gets double screens, and as I said earlier, very, very valuable right now. Just lets you set up damage reduction screens for free at the start of really any engagement. So definitely run that on Ampharos. And then T-Bolt, like I said earlier, of Gardevoir, insanely valuable move right now. That pretty much automatically hits the target once you have it locked in. It's a very brain-dead, easy move to use, and is very valuable because Gyarados is running rampant right now. And then Charge is good. Not only does it increase your Spadef for a while, it also just charges your T-Bolt. I would just go this. I know it kind of leaves you vulnerable to ground types, but against ground types, you're just going to swap out anyway, right? So you might as well just play into Ampharos' strengths of just setting up a charge and just ripping a T-Bolt on something. I think this is the way to go, because it also lets you guarantee one-shots unlike Greninjas and Gyarados, even if they allocate a bit of Spadef investments into their builds. I think like charge T-Bolt is more than enough. So yeah, this is what I would do with Ampharos. Go 252 HP, 252 special attack. Maybe you can do a little bit into defense. That might let you live some Earthquake interactions, but I think just going 252 HP is fine. You can go modest for as much T-Bolt damage as possible. But the reason why you don't go Mega Ampharos is, well, one, the Shuca Berry thing that I said, but also Mega Ampharos becomes a Dragon type. And as you guys know already, Garchomp, Dragonites, and Salamence, they all run Dragon Rush, Draco Meteor. So that's just giving yourself a Dragon weakness for no reason. Like, you don't really need the extra stats that much that makes you want to add a Dragon weakness to yourself. It's just kind of, it's not worth it. I would just go Shuca Berry. Alright, the next Pokemon I want to break down is Mega Greninja. Mega Greninja is just very popular right now. Not really because it's like incredibly giga broken and like warps the entire metagame around it, but just because it's popular, right? It's the current rank reward for reaching rank K in the battle royale, in the online royale. So a lot of people are, and also not to mention it's Greninja, right? It's a Mega Greninja. A lot of people love it. It's literally like Game Freak's second poster child behind Charizard. So obviously it's going to be popular in ranked battles right now. And it's good on top of that. It's pretty good. Very good stat spread of 133 special attack, 142 speed. Very glass cannony because its bulk is completely, like, if you just tickle this thing, it'll die. But that's just Greninja, right? Water Shuriken is a very good, incredibly good move. It is, I believe, only a 3-second cooldown base and does 75 base power. So if you just spam this thing from range, you just get a lot of value from this move. It's not like a one-shot, it's gonna one-shot your opponent kind of move, but it's a move that you can just tickle people from afar with, and it'll just really annoy them. Really good for picking up last hits as well, because the range is pretty decent on the move. And then Surf, okay, Surf is amazing. So Surf kind of just goes in a very wide AoE and goes a little bit far. And if you're like third partying two guys that are fighting each other and they're both at 1 HP and you just rip Surf on them after a nasty plot, oh my god, it's just the easiest double kills you can pick up. And an Ice Beam is very valuable just to hit Garchomp and Dragonite right now, right? So you pretty much will always go Ice Beam on Greninja just to be able to hit those meta Pokemon. And nasty plot just to set up your Spatak. It's pretty much a must-have in Legends ZA, just any kind of setup move. So the interesting thing with Greninja actually is that it's so fast that it actually already almost maximizes its cooldown reduction on Water Shuriken, Surf, and Ice Beam, because those moves aren't relatively high cooldown at all. I think Surf is like 8 seconds, Ice Beam is also around 8 seconds, and Water Shuriken is like 3 to 5 seconds, incredibly short. So you don't need that much speed. You just need that magic number of 192 to really reach the maximum CDR for those moves. So all you really need to allocate is 236 speed, and then just the rest you can put into Spatak. I even put a little bit into HP, and then because you already reached this special number of speed, you can just go a modest nature instead of a timid nature to just really maximize the damage that you're dealing. So this is the stats that I'm running: 20, 252, 236, modest nature instead of timid, because we don't need the extra speed. Yeah, so just Greninja's great. It just does so much damage. Obviously, it's a bit frail, but when you're looking to third-party people with Surfs or like just snipe people from afar, then that frailness doesn't really matter as much. You're not jumping in like Garchomps. You're not flying in like Salamences. You're kind of playing from afar, looking for that right time to come in and just rip a giant Surf and kill everyone. Greninja's very annoying in that regard, but it's not broken at all. I think it's like one of the more balance slash like low-key anti-meta picks they can go, just because it has Ice Beam to let you hit those meta Pokemon. Alright, moving on to the last Pokemon I want to talk about for this video. It's going to be Mega Excadrill. So ground types have decent value right now because Greninja and Gyarados are fairly popular, and obviously those mons are quite weak to electric, so they pretty much are sitting ducks for like Ampharos, Charge, T-Bolt. You want something to immune that. So Excadrill and also Hippowdon, which I guess I could have added in here, but really just any of those two ground types, really good for bringing with your water types that immune T-Bolts. Excadrill just also gets access to Swords Dance Agility, similar to Skarmory earlier. So if you're running that, then you can do a max HP, max attack investment like I'm showing here with an Adamant Nature, because Agility just lets you reach that threshold for CDR, for your cooldown reduction for your moves. So going like anywhere past that is kind of unnecessary, unless if you just want to move around faster. So I run Swords Dance Agility with Drill Run Earthquake. I've been testing different moves on Excadrill a bit, and I've kind of come to the conclusion that its ground moves are so good that you might as well just only run ground moves, because like Drill Run, Earthquake, and Dig are all really good moves to run on Excadrill. And if someone just throws in a flying type on you, then you might as well just swap out, right? Like, there's no real reason to like let Excadrill be able to hit flying types. Just let it wail on things with its really strong ground moves and just swap out when it has to. In my opinion, Drill Run is just such a good move. You Swords Dance Agility once, Drill Run, Excadrill run into position and just do a giant drill forward. Does pretty solid damage, 80 base power. It has a decent crit ratio, and then it'll just obliterate things. And it'll go so far, so you can easily pick up like double, triple KOs when you use this thing. Earthquake being similar as well, because it goes in a giant AoE. So the combo I like to do is just Drill Run in, get in the middle of everyone, and then just rip Earthquake. And Agility kind of lets you have that fast activation and like cooldown, fast cooldown to be able to like use those moves in tandem really quickly. So yeah, really good combo right here. Obviously you're vulnerable to people swapping in a flying type on you, but I'd rather play into my strengths fully than like worry about that, right? So yeah, this is what I'm doing. 252 HP, 252 attack, Adamant Nature. Agility lets you reach your maximum cooldown threshold, and then Drill Run, Earthquake I think are strongest moves. You can run Dig over maybe Drill Run. You can Dig onto someone and it'll pretty much not miss unless if they swap, and then you can just rip Earthquake afterwards. Not bad at all. I think Drill Run is just better. I don't know. It has so much like double kill, triple kill potential. So yeah, that's my take on the current metagame. Oh, I guess we can talk about Hippowdon real quick. Where's Hippowdon? Alright, quickly whipped up a random set that I think I would go on Hippowdon if I wasn't running Excadrill. AV with Earthquake, Ice Fang, T-Fang, Stone Edge is probably what I would do. Ice Fang and T-Fang is just, like I said earlier, really valuable to have because it lets you hit Garchomp Dragonites with Ice Fang, and then T-Fang lets you hit the Gyarados, the Greninjas. Stone Edge could be just good for hitting flying types. I didn't consider running this originally, but yeah, having this makes sense, or a Rock Slide if it gets that. Just some kind of rock move to go to hit flying types, and obviously Earthquake is one of the strongest ground moves in the game. You're definitely running that. And in terms of your investments, obviously Hippowdon is weak to Ice Beams that can be thrown out by like Greninja or Glaceon, and Greninja can just use like Surf on it as well. So AV will help in that regard, let it be a bit tankier in the Spadef category, but I think he will need a bit more investments in Spadef based on being able to live Ice Beams or Glaceon or Surfs from Greninja. I haven't really done the calcs yet, so which is whatever amount is necessary. Just pull that much into Spadef and then just pour the rest into HP defense is what I think I would do. You could lean a bit more into attack to be able to like get sneaky one shots on like Gyarados, like T-Fang or like Garchomp maybe, or Ice Fang for Garchomp. But I think it'll be kind of difficult. I think yeah, if you allocate enough attack, I guess you would be able to like one shot a regular Gyarados with T-Fang. I guess if you want to play it like that, I think it'll be better to just play it as like a more bulky pivot for your water carries to immune electric moves. I think that's the way I would play it. But yeah, that's my take on the current metagame for Pokemon Legends ZA. I might make an update to this soon when Delphox comes out and inevitably shakes things up a bit. I think it definitely will. Delphox, let me make a quick prediction real quick. I think it'll find a interesting spot in the meta where it does kind of get rolled by like Garchomp's Earthquakes, gets rolled by like just other really strong physical attackers like Salamence, but at the same time, it will serve as kind of a problem for like the people that are running Gardevoir and like Glaceon to deal with those meta picks. So I think Delphox will kind of like come in and harass those players that are trying to run Glaceon and Gardevoir and also Skarmory, right? Like, Delphox rolls all 3 of these Pokemon here, and also arguably, I guess, like Ampharos. Yeah, it'll probably do up Ampharos as well. So yeah, I think that'll be very interesting. Delphox is almost like an anti meta. So yeah, I think Delphox will be very interesting. So yeah, if you guys don't want to miss my eventual Mega Delphox video when it drops, I believe it drops November 6th or November 5th or something like that. So I will be definitely making a video on that as soon as it drops. So if you don't want to miss that, remember to subscribe to the channel. And also I'll be doing a ton more creative and informative content for this game. I'm having a lot of fun playing some ranked in Legends EA. So yeah, sub to the channel, leave a like if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.